Hello there, Lunar Squadron, and welcome back to the channel. Jedi Survivor is finally upon us, and now that we've spent more than 30 hours playing through Jedi Survivor, we have sat down and compiled a list of the top 10 gameplay tips and tricks you need to know that will help you through your journey in that galaxy far, far away. But before we get into this list, if you're new to the channel, we would love to have you as always, and the way to do that is just go down below this video, hit that little subscribe button, the bell notification right on next to it. It will notify you every single time Andreas and I upload the latest and greatest Star Wars and Jedi Survivor content. Now with that out of the way, Andreas, why don't you kick us off with the first tip and trick that we have for Jedi Survivor?
Absolutely, Nick. The first tip that we have for you guys is don't forget to use your new Force abilities. Jedi Survivor comes with it a whole host of new Force abilities, so you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of the new abilities that we have in this game. Last time around, we had, the basic Force push and pull, and those haven't gone anywhere, but now you've got new abilities like Force lift and Force slam at your disposal, and these are super overpowered. First of all, they can really throw off your enemies when you hit them with a Force slam. You don't even have to get in and dangerous and put yourself open to possibly getting hit when you're using the Force slam. Or you can use the Force lift, and I love combining the Force lift with the Force push ability. You can get really creative with the different combinations that you can make with these Force abilities, so make sure to use them. They'll go a long way.
The second tip that we have has all to do with the skill trees in Jedi Survivor. As you guys all know, this is one of the biggest improvements this time around from Respawn. In Fallen Order, there was only one dedicated skill tree, but this time around, we have 9 individual skill trees for the various abilities in Jedi Survivor. So our second tip is make sure you're upgrading your skill trees to unlock new combos for your combat stances and new combat abilities and Force abilities. These are going to be super helpful for you in your gameplay experience, especially as you progress through the game and come up against more of those tougher opponents and the bigger waves of enemies. And these will especially be important if you are playing on those higher difficulties. So definitely make sure you are staying on top of your skill trees and you are upgrading and getting those new abilities.
Our third tip for you guys is to always take out blaster enemies first. Now, I know I'm not the only one who gets super annoyed when I'm on a really cool lightsaber chain and I get shot from somewhere randomly and it kind of takes Cal out of whack. You want to make sure that you're taking out these peripheral targets so that you can focus on the bigger enemies. Usually, the blaster enemies in this game are easier to beat. They're things like stormtroopers and B1 battle droids. And while there are some exceptions like B2 battle droids, which can be a real pain in the ass, especially at higher difficulties because you want to watch those wrist rockets, guys, you want to make sure that you're taking out these blaster enemies so that you can focus on the melee targets and that blaster enemies are not messing with your melee combos in this game.
The fourth tip that we have is make sure you're taking advantage of the brand new perk system. This is another brand new addition to the game out of Respawn and something completely new to the Jedi franchise. And it is really important to stay on top of the perk system because these perks, and depending on which perks you enable, can completely change your gameplay experience. Now, when you start the game, you will only have 3 slots available to you. As you progress, you will be able to increase that number, and each of the perks will take up various numbers of slots. Some will take up all 3 slots, some will take up 2 of the slots, and some will take up 1. So you'll have to be very tactical how you use these various perks. In our playthrough, we really loved the perk Wisdom because that helped us gain XP at a faster rate, which then in turn helped us gain skill points faster, which then in turn allowed us to upgrade our skill trees faster and unlock those new abilities and combos that we talked about. So definitely make sure you guys take advantage of that brand new perk system.
Our next tip is to make sure to use all 5 combat stances and find the 2 that you're most comfortable with in this game. If for any reason, maybe just for fun, guys, because it's super fun to use all of these different combat stances because all of them have their own unique animations, and it's so cool to see all of these animations flow out in the game. If you ever find yourself needing a little refresher, you need something new, something to keep you going and stay on this game, switch up the stances and it honestly feels like a whole new game. Also, each stance has its pros and cons to it. For example, having 2 lightsabers is a very quick stance, but it's going to leave you open to take on a lot of damage if you're not precise with it. Also, using the crossguard stance is a very big and bulky stance, going to deal a lot of damage, but if you don't time things perfectly and keep opponents at the right range, you're going to find yourself really paying for mistakes. So there's pros and cons with each of these stances, and it really pays to use them, get some experience under your belt with all of the stances, and find your favorites.
The sixth tip that we have on our list is the brand new Force Confusion ability in Jedi Survivor is a literal game changer. This is one of the brand new Force abilities in this game from Respawn, and it's so important to the gameplay, in fact, that they dedicated an entire skill tree just to this ability, and it really is that important, and it is really fun to use. This allows you to mind trick various different types of enemies that then will turn against the opponents that you're facing, and this completely can change the tide of battle when you're up against those bigger waves and stronger enemies. Definitely make sure you guys are taking advantage of this, because it can be the difference between life or death literally in this game.
Our next tip is to make sure that you're actually spending in-game currency to unlock new items. So there are various forms of in-game currency in this game. You've got Priorite Shards, you've got Jedha Scrolls on Jedha, and you've even got data discs. And first of all, if you go ahead and just explore the different environments in this game, you're going to quickly rack up these different in-game currencies. And you might find yourself forgetting to actually go to the local store where you can spend them, whether it be Doma Dendras or the other places that you can go spend these currencies. And it really pays to spend them, because you can unlock really cool things. Most notably, guys, a whole host of cosmetic items, and you don't want to be the guy that waits to find your favorite cosmetic item until the very end of the game when you could have been playing through the whole game with a really cool cosmetic that you really love. You want to make sure that you actually spend these things, and they can also unlock things other than cosmetics as well. You've got different songs that you can play in the cantina. You've got different perks, most notably with the data discs, those unlock new perks. And then you even have new lightsaber parts, new parts for BD, so on and so forth. There's so many things to spend these currencies on, so make sure that you're actually spending them.
Speaking of exploring the various locations, that actually takes us to our eighth tip on our list, and that is take time to explore around the various locations and planets in Jedi Survivor, because Respawn has created an absolutely beautiful Star Wars game. There are so many cool Star Wars details and lore to experience throughout this journey, and it's really nice to take a step back sometimes. I know some of you might want to just get through the story and see what's going on, but take time to take a step back and just appreciate the world that you're in, because when you do, you will realize how awesome of a Star Wars experience Respawn has put here. Plus, if you take the time to explore around, you will be able to find these cosmetic items and all of this side content along the way, and you will run into so many cool companions and cool NPCs to talk to, and it will just really add to the overall experience of Jedi Survivor, and you'll just really appreciate the game on a stronger level. I know both of us did when we took the time to just explore and see what Respawn has put together for us.
Our next tip is to make sure that you're using the brand new companion system in this game. This is brand new to Jedi Survivor, and it's super duper helpful, especially in the different segments of this game where you are able to use a companion. There are different moments in the story and different locations in the game where you will be able to utilize a companion, and there are specific controls where you can order your companion to attack your foes. It's really helpful, especially when you're in a bind, when you find yourself, stuck in a certain encounter and you need, for example, someone to take out those pesky B2 battle droids that are shooting wrist rockets at you from afar. You can ask your companion to go take care of them. It's a really great way to kind of divide and conquer. Use your friends. Make sure you use the companion system.
Our 10th and final tip for Jedi Survivor on this list is use the new fast travel mechanic to your advantage. Now, I know this might be controversial to some people, but I don't think a lot of you realize, and you will soon realize once you get your hands on this game, how big the locations are in this game, especially Kobo, and using that brand new fast travel mechanic is incredibly helpful for you to progress through the story in Jedi Survivor at just a faster rate. Now, of course, we're not saying don't take the time to explore. In fact, that was one of our tips on this list, was take the time to explore. but sometimes you will have to cross entire locations or entire planets, and it can get a little tedious when you have to keep doing it. So being able to utilize this brand new fast travel mechanic is incredibly helpful. We really believe that there is a strong reason why Respawn chose to include it in this game, and we definitely think it's something you guys should take advantage of. It's something we definitely took advantage of in our playthrough, and it really helped us, and it really helped the overall quality of life for us in this game, and we're very thankful that Respawn actually thought of this and took the time to put the fast travel mechanic in this game, because without it, things might have been a little more tedious, a little bit more annoying. But definitely, guys, if you're on the fence about it, we would highly recommend you take advantage of this mechanic, because I think you guys will see a huge quality of life improvement in your playthrough of Jedi Survivor. There you guys have it. There are our 10 essential tips, 10 tips you need to know going into Jedi Survivor that will hopefully help your journey in that galaxy far, far away. We definitely wish we would have known these 10 things going into the game. So we're hoping that this list helped some of you out and helped give you guys some more guidance on how to get through Jedi Survivor in a more fun way. Let us know down below in the comments what your favorite elements of Jedi Survivor are once you play through them, and what your favorite tip or what tips and tricks you are going to try out in your playthrough. We would love to hear from you, but that is going to do it for us for this one. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and as always, we will see you all next time.